And to wrap up our show, I'm excited to introduce you to Maria Paula Aldana, who's using digital media to share with her peers the church's teachings on sexuality. Born and raised in Colombia, Maria Paula was deeply invested in the pro-abortion movement when she had a powerful encounter with God. Now she teaches John Paul II's Theology of the Body across South America through her organization, Somos Suyos, which in Spanish means we are his. Here's her incredible testimony. Tell me about your organization and what inspired you to start it.
So I was doing law school a couple years ago, and I was not really following my faith. I was actually pretty much an atheist at that point. I was gathering a lot of people around a lot of misconceptions on sexuality. I was a leader in many of these abortion, pro-choice campaigns and feminism and many other things when I was doing law school. And then I encountered Christ when I was 20 years old. Totally changed my life. I fell in love with this man that actually loved me first. And I started wondering if what I was doing was actually what I was called to do. I went 2 years away to do discernment with the Franciscans in my country. I'm from Colombia. And I did that for 2 years. I discerned that God was not really calling me for the religious life. But I would see, when I was with my sisters, we would visit seminaries, and I would see the priests and the young seminarians taking Bible classes and theology classes, and we were not doing that. So I would just take a glimpse in the window, and I was tearing up because I really wanted to do that. So I decided to enter theology as a laywoman, and I already finished my philosophy course of the career. Wonderful. And I'm in first year theology. And during the pandemic, actually even when I was in the monastery, I had this deep encounter with Christ, but the sexual wounds that I had in my life were just in standby. I was doing all of this deep knowledge of the faith, and many things were happening in my spiritual life, but deep down my emotional side of things and the sexual wounds that I had were untouched. And I had no resources to start healing that. So when pandemic hit, I was already preaching. I was preaching in parishes, and I was leading what you would call in America youth ministers. I was doing that already, but still struggling with many of the things. And I'm not ashamed of saying it. I always do. I was struggling with porn addiction, masturbation, and many other things that we really don't have as much resources in Latin America as you guys do in the States.
Right.
It's something unheard of, especially when it comes to the Catholic Church. So during the pandemic, I was already preaching and doing all these things, and someone sent me this online conference about theology of the body. I've never heard of it. I signed up for it, and I remember I was cleaning my bathroom because I was, doing the weekend chores.
Sure.
And I was covered in soap, and I started hearing this guy preaching theology of the body, and I was crying my eyes out, covered in soap and crying my eyes out, because I was looking for my place in the church for a long time. In the monastery, I was looking for it. Is it the Franciscan side of it? Is it preaching in parishes? And when I heard theology of the body, I felt this deep confirmation in my heart. Jesus telling me, this is your place in the church. Theology of the body is your place in the church.
Wow.
And I started just diving into it really quick. I started, mixing sexual education with proper theology and Catholic theology.
Right.
I formed myself in sexual education in Argentina, in a very, very good program from the Catholic Church. And then I started doing theology of the body with Christopher West in the Theology of the Body Institute, online.
Yes.
And then I already had a ministry online, this Instagram accounts that you open up during the pandemic to share the faith and stuff. And then I just started sharing about theology of the body, and it blew up.
Obviously, this importance of reclaiming sexuality, healing from sexual wounds, is such an important part of the fight for life, the fight to stop abortion. Can you speak to that a little bit? The fact that this is really where that ministry starts, that pro-life mission starts.
Of course. I'm from Colombia.
Yes.
Not Colombia, Colombia. And unfortunately, my country has many great things, but we're one of the most progressive countries in Latin America when it comes to abortion.
Yes.
Our legal system, our justice system is really, really moving alongside one of the most progressive sentences in the world when it comes to abortion. At first, we had 3 main causes for allowing abortion. It's not that it's legal. We've never had a Roe v. Wade sentence, but it's decriminalized.
Yes.
And what that means is that in my country, you can abort a 9-month-old child. And it happens, it has happened, it happens every day. And when you work with communities, because I'm part of also the pro-life movement in Colombia,
yes,
when you go to the field, when you talk to women, when you talk to young girls that are pregnant, what you find over and over and over again is that they offer abortion as a solution, but then after the abortion that is supposed to be free, but not really free, someone's paying for it, after the abortion, that woman, that girl, that child is left in the same conditions as she was before. Poverty, lack of education, lack of opportunities. And when you talk to them about what led them to abortion was not, you know, the empowerment of women and feminism. I don't have a job. That's the answer. I fell in love with someone that never loved me back. I fell in love and he wanted me to have sex. I really didn't want it. I didn't even enjoy it. But I wanted to be loved. So for me, the theology of the body and, you know, this good news about who you are and the love of God, and actually making it possible to be, you know, translated in terms of sexual education and public policies, is actually leading us to the root of the problem. They need to be educated, not just here, they're needing a lot of it, but they need education in the heart. They need their hearts, their affectivity, their emotional needs to be met in a licit and proper and, you know, free way. And in that way, if we can start working in this, and I know it might not be the huge impact that we're looking for, like, you know, combating a Roe v. Wade or being the post-Roe v. Wade generation like you guys are in here, for us is more like, if we're able to start educating and catching one mind at a time, one conscience at a time, one heart at a time, we're gonna have a full generation of young people that are not even going to consider abortion as an option. So it doesn't matter if it's legal or not. At one point, because I was doing law, I was so frustrated because I thought, we're not doing anything. They keep legalizing stuff, they keep pulling these sentences up, and Jesus was whispering in my heart, we're not battling for this to be legal. We're battling for this to be unimaginable in the hearts of young women and men. And you are able to do that because I'm sending you to do that. So one girl at a time, one family at a time, one school at a time. I've been called to many schools and it's mind-blowing for me because I'm a Catholic.
Yes.
And I'm professing the Catholic faith when it comes to sexuality. And they're calling us, so please, we've done everything. Contraception, you know, the feminism movement, we've done everything. And the numbers are just going up.
Yeah, nothing else works.
Nothing else works.
Besides the truth.
Exactly.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining me, Maria. It was an honor to have you on, and congrats in your work. Keep fighting the good fight.
Thank you for inviting me and for all your questions. It's a pleasure, and thank you for everything that you guys do in EWTN. We love your content in Spanish, and we'll be happy to keep working with you guys.
Wonderful. Thank you.